First of all, I move the motion. I think I probably need to formally do that. So the motion this evening is in relation to the early years and childcare sector, with an emphasis on the cost of childcare. So as we know, the cost for parents is crippling. Families literally actually put off having children, or sometimes have one child, or I've seen situations where people are juggling, trying to predict when a child might be born, if one will be in school when the other needs childcare, and all sorts of kind of strange situations, just literally down to the cost. And for the past number of weeks in this chamber, we have had discussions and debates in relation to the increase in cost of living and how that is impacting on families, and childcare costs is one of those issues. For the past number of years, Sinn Féin have been putting forward proposals that relieve the pressure on families by cutting the costs by 2/3 over two budgets, 1/3 in the first year and then moving to 2/3 in the second year. It would not only benefit families, but, and this is a big point I want to make, it would be a game changer for women in both access and employment and progressing in the workforce. As we know, very many women end up maybe going part-time, or try and get a parental leave day. I remember what that was like myself in relation to I actually had a bit of a childcare situation myself today, but it's constant. It's just constant, and if you have access to quality, affordable childcare, it is just a total game changer. I know of a number of women, and I'm sure every TD in this house knows of people who have left work due to the cost. And it's often after a second child is born, when it gets to that stage, it becomes too much pressure, or you feel like you're working, racing out the door in the morning, literally just to pay the cost of childcare. And I just want to give two examples of two people that I knew personally, both very highly educated, had degrees, these women, both when they had their second child, because the children were quite close. One was living in Dublin, one living in Carlow, and they both decided that they had no option but to give up employment. And for the first person who was living in Dublin with two children, the fees were coming up around 1,800. And just to give an example, if our proposal had been introduced, or would be introduced, that would have reduced by 600 and then 1,200 in the second year. So that would be a total and utter game changer, as I've said, for that woman. And the second person in Carlow, in a more rural area, a little bit less, but still 1,400 with two children, and that would be 466 in the first year, and then we go to 932. And that would be two women remaining in the workforce, as well as all of the benefits, I want to say, in relation to children and all of the amazing things that they learn, that I'm always amazed what they can learn and take on in the kind of creche environment and setting that they certainly seem to listen to a lot more than they do parents anyway. So cost is obviously one of the issues, and it's a key issue. I do also want to touch on the wages and conditions, because I do like to address that whenever I get the opportunity to speak about the early years sector, because early years educators are, I believe, undervalued. It is an issue. We all know that there's an issue of staffing crisis. I'm sure nearly every TD has been contacted about that, and representations from the Big Start, which is the SIP2 campaign in relation to the terms and conditions. And I do want to take the opportunity to ask in relation to the JLC process if there is any update on that. I have serious concerns that September is a very, very tight time frame, and what happens if there isn't agreement by September. And maybe the Minister would take the opportunity to give us some update in relation to that. And we do feel that our proposals over the last number of budgets do tackle the issues that face the early years and the childcare sector. And I know as well, and I do want to mention, the very real and very serious concerns by some providers, by the smaller providers, I will say. I'm not talking about the big providers that we all know that are getting serious profit, but the smaller providers that are struggling and are very concerned about the new funding model. And I know they would appreciate an update on how exactly that will work for them, and any details that can be provided in relation to that. So I am going to listen to the debate with interest and pass over to my colleagues now. Ceann Comhairle, thank you.